they have built a base of science around these diseases, and in particular, and I think this is especially important, they've served as an honest broker, I guess. They've been able to evaluate the landscape of opportunities around these diseases, and have been able to channel resources toward the opportunities that we think have the best chances to move forward. It's actually pretty unique even among the PDPs. You know, when you think of their origins, you know, you think of the founding partners, right? You have, of course, our host Institut Pasteur here, but you have MSF, you have leading medical organizations from, you know, the target countries. You know, all of those groups are people who deal with the consequence of these diseases on a daily basis, you know, and on the ground, and so I think. You know, I think that their experiences really permeate the environment of DNDi. You know, it makes DNDi more willing than most PDPs probably to take on the most neglected of the neglected diseases. You know, to do that when there's, you know, no possibility of recovering investment, where it's really, you know, a gift essentially to the people who in need, and additionally from a discovery perspective, when the neglected diseases really have neglected science behind them as well, and so the absence of a solid scientific base around those diseases really makes the challenge that much more difficult. So I think that that's a really important role that DNDi fills. The other thing is that, again, because of that history, I think that they have an incredibly tight focus on patients, and to me that's really important. When you think about, you know, DNDi's successes over the past 10 years, they've been these very pragmatic steps that have been very focused on improving the lives of patients, and that focus, I think, transmits itself all the way through the organization, all the way, you know, down to people like myself who are really at the very, very early levels of the drug discovery process, so that we think about those patient needs as we're doing, you know, something that's really essentially basic science. And so that makes it really exciting to work with those teams. There are lots of challenges looking forward. I mean, from my perspective, again, in early discovery, I see two, and I think they're sort of related. So, you know, on the one hand, the work that has gone on historically has led to real improvements in patient lives, but I think our goal goes beyond that. I think our goal is to really alter, you know, the course of these diseases, in some cases possibly even be able to eliminate some of these diseases. And it's clear that to do that, we're going to need, you know, new and better medications. We're going to need medicines that have improved properties over the ones that we already have. We're going to need medicines with new profiles that we're only beginning to understand the need for. And so that's a long-term effort, obviously, and of course we're all impatient because we all want to make a difference in the patients' lives today. But it also creates a challenge, again, as we were saying earlier, because of the lack of that fundamental understanding of the diseases, which is really the underpinning that we try to build our drug discovery efforts on. So we have to, in a way, we have to invest in the understanding of the science, and then we have to invest in the discovery and development efforts. And all of that takes time, it takes money, it takes patience. It takes patience on the part of the drug discovery teams. It takes patience on the part of the funders. And you know, I know that from a funder's perspective, I mean, they're constantly challenged by, I don't know what I guess I would call the tyranny of the immediate. You know, the today's crisis that needs to be dealt with and that competes with funds, you know, that otherwise would be invested in these long-term processes. So I think that's a challenge, to keep the projects going long enough to really learn from your mistakes and then build to a successful conclusion.